everybody, and welcome to the Open Heart Productions Podcast, episode number two. Today we're talking about Narrative Wells, and I also want to give a shout out to Kenley Osmond. We're actually in his studio today.
It's fantastic studio.
Yeah, actually, it's a pretty awesome studio. Trying something a little different, but hey, we're gonna go with it. Um, but anyways, we're gonna talk about Narrative Wells. Me and Mitch already today watched Narrative Wells and did a commentary, which is actually coming out in episode number four. So today we're gonna talk about Narrative Wells, how it got started, and we'll just let Mitch here talk
Yeah,
about it.
so Ne'er Wells was the very first movie that I ever did. It was the feature length. And even though like it's like post mortem Open Heart, it really originally was Delta Movies.
Okay.
Brian Dunn
Yep.
and his group, they were the one that took a chance on me. To back it up, before Ne'er Do Wells happened, I had only done one other thing film wise, which was a short film called The Coffin Nail, and it was something that me and John Tripp worked on,
Okay.
and it was a little 15-minute short. Dustin Underwood did a
Okay.
little part in it as
Okay,
well. And after we did the short, I was like, all right, cool, let's try to do a full length feature. We did, and Ne'er Do Wells was one of the five scripts that I talked about that I had written whenever I was learning how to write scripts. The Coffin Nail was the first one. And then Ne'er Do Wells was the second. The Have Nots, which was a sequel to Ne'er Do Wells, was the third, and whatever. But
Okay. So what gave you the inspiration for Narrative Wells?
the script, really a lot of real life things that happened with us growing up in the Monroe, West Monroe area and living in Balkanville, Louisiana. If anybody's ever spent any time out there, it's one of
Actually, Balkanville is in the Wikipedia. I
it
actually seen that.
really, what
Yes.
does it say?
Uh, what you would literally think about Balkanville.
So
Like the women have no teeth and the men are all bald.
well, they did have that documentary, if you remember that they did it on Balkanville a few years
I don't know
back.
if I seen that.
Maybe it was 10 years back or
Maybe
more.
so.
But yeah, there was a documentary about Balkanville. And in fact, whenever I was working on Near to Wells, I bumped into Keith Buckley, the lead singer for Every Time I Die.
Okay.
I was in New Orleans, and me and Heath Gorman and my ex-wife Tasha were at a bar, and the lead singer for Every Time I Die and Norma Jean walked in and just sat down, started drinking, and
Okay.
then Heath just like poked was like, "Bitch, don't make a big deal, but look to your right." I looked, said, "Yep, that's them." That's them. So we bought him a drink and sent it over to him, and that allowed us the grace to go and talk with them for a minute. And I was talking to Keith, and I was like, "So I'm working on a movie right now, and I really would like to use one of your songs." And he's like, "Well, what's the movie about?" I'm like, "Well, it takes place in Balkanville, and I don't know if you know what Balkanville is, but it's made national notoriety for a guy that fucked his sister's pig." And whenever I said that, he went, "You have my permission to use whatever song for whatever you want."
That's the first time I heard that story, but that's pretty wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy that like had his arm chainsawed off over like a meth dispute. Remember
Never
that?
heard of that one
That
either.
these are all things I read in the newspaper.
Okay.
Like it's so yeah,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre in Monroe.
the Balkanville Chainsaw
There you
Massacre.
go.
But that was the inspiration for Ne'er Do Wells, just living in West Monroe and Balkanville and all the crazy things that just happen on a daily basis around those parts. Um, which is I don't know, you watched the movie today, and as
Yeah.
somebody that spent a lot of time in that area, does it live up to like what it's like?
Like I said earlier when we were doing the commentary, for a first movie for any director or anybody doing a film, it did not look like a first movie.
Really?
It looked professional to me. The coloring, the way the movie's put together,
Well, people
like I
will.
couldn't tell it was B-rated movie.
All right, well, people will see it. I mean, it's a 2000. We filmed it in 2008, 2010. We're going to show the watch along. Whenever he said that, I said, yeah, okay, awesome. I still rate it like middle of the road. Not bad, not good, just right there in the middle. But whenever we finished Coffin Nail and I wanted to do Near to Wells, we pretty much just kept on going with the crew and everybody that we had for Coffin Nail. John Tripp, we had his camera,
Okay.
and just kept going. And
Shout out, John.
shout out, John.
Actually, our writer for all of our movies so
I
far.
mean, he might not be as happy once we talk later on, but I mean, it is the
We
story.
love you,
We
John.
love you, John, no
We love
matter
you.
what. We might talk shit here in a minute, but we still love you. Because that was different times.
Yeah, hey,
Different
it is what
times.
it
And
is.
it's the way it was then is not the way that it is now.
Right,
So I mean,
right.
who are we to say? But so me and Dustin Underwood were playing the main two characters, Chris and Eric, right?
Okay.
And we filmed more than half of the movie just by ourselves, just doing it our own way. And then suddenly John stopped letting us borrow the camera. And suddenly John no longer was available to film any more weekends. And the best excuse he could give us was his mom didn't want him to come over there at the time. I don't know how much of that's true. I don't even care anymore because there's water on the bridge. But bottom line was we had access to a camera, and then suddenly we did not.
And if you guys watch this movie, Mitch is so baby faced back there in this movie. It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
no,
Like everybody you see in this movie that are in our movies now, you're like, what?
Yeah,
That's
'cause
them?
Jeff,
What?
Jeff, was the biggest.
Yeah, Jeff was like the biggest. I didn't even know it was him, and he told me it was Jeff. I was like, really?
Deputy Thomas.
So-
Like this was his first movie too. Was
Yep.
Near to Wells. Jeff has pretty much been behind the scenes of every movie that I've
Okay.
ever done since the beginning. I don't know. I don't think Jeff was a part of Unknown Strangers. Yeah, yeah. Jeff didn't do Unknown Strangers with us, but everything else, Jeff has been there the whole time.
Jeff's a good dude. I love
Yeah.
Jeff. Yeah.
He keeps trying to get out, and I keep just grabbing him by the ankle and pulling him back in.
Get back here.
Like Freddy Krueger, he's got his hands. He's like, "Oh God,
Right,
I know you're talking.
right.
You can't leave." But I know his wife likes that he's in horror movies. So as long as the wife is happy, Jeff will be happy. So that's kind of what I'm hanging on to. But after we finished Coffin Nail, Dustin, he was going to Louisiana Delta Community College, and Professor Brian Dunn was one of his professors.
Okay.
And they started like talking after class, and Brian let me know that he had a production company that had just done a movie, Catahoula, and they were looking for their next project that they were wanting to work on. He said, "Well, my buddy Mitch has this stoner comedy script that we tried doing and we couldn't finish it. Maybe we could sit down and talk about y'all doing that." And he was interested, and me and Dustin sat down and met with him and Greg Harveston at a coffee shop,
Okay.
gave him the script, pitched it, and originally they just kind of wanted to buy the script from me and do their own thing. And I talk about how in life you have like 5 to 10 moments in life that, based off of the decision that you made, will affect the rest of your life. And I kind of felt like I was in one of those moments then. Like, yeah, I could have accepted the money for them to buy the script, and that would have paid rent. I would have gotten food, that would have gotten drugs, that would have gotten booze. But I decided to say no. And they were like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, because how about this? You don't have to pay me for the script, but I want to direct it." And they were like, "Well, did you go to film school?" "No." "You ever read any books or watched any videos about filmmaking?" "No." You know anything about this at all?" "No." "You ever make anything at all? Short film, anything?" "Yeah, I have." "Oh, cool. Can we see that?" "No." "Why not?" "Because it's really bad and it's not a good representation of what I can do." And they're like, "Man, you gotta let us see it. You got to." So I did. I put it as a listen. Y'all gotta understand. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to tell good stories. And we watched it. And when we got done, there was a big silence. I looked over at Brian and Greg, who looked at each other. And then Brian looked at me. He goes, "Mitch, you're right." I'm like, "What?" "You don't know what you're doing. You don't. But you do know how to tell a good story. And you do know you have an eye for where the camera should be. You just don't know how to make it look and sound good. And I think we can help you with that. So how about this? You sit down with me and apprentice under me for 6 months. Meet up with me 2 or 3 times a week for 6 months. I'll give you all the knowledge you need to know about what it takes to make a movie. And then after that, we'll use that also as pre-production time for your movie. So we can do auditions and rehearsals and all that stuff as part of your education. And your final test will be making this movie.
So Brian Dunn taught you pretty much a lot of the stuff that you know.
Most everything that I know, Brian Dunn taught me.
Okay, awesome.
And he was very patient. And it was great because it was different than being like in a class with other people because it was just me and Brian. So whenever I'd show up, he would have lights set up. And he'd be like, all right, today we're going to go over 3-point lighting. And we'd go over that. I'd show up and he'd have a camera set up and go, all right, today we're going to go over all the different settings you have to go through on your camera to get a good shot mixed in with your lighting. And then once we got that, it's like, all right, now we're going to pull out the microphones and show you where you need to put the microphones at in your shots with your lighting, with your settings to get all that. Now that we've done that, we're going to film something. Now that we filmed it, we're going to go upstairs and I'm going to show you how to do the editing for it and how to put it in and do color correction and sound. And now we're going to go over pre-production. This is how the meeting phase, your shot lists, your props list, your costume list. Like he spoon fed me all of that stuff for 6 months, and it was just me and him. So I got to retain all of that, and it was an invaluable gift that he gave me that I can't repay that
compared to where you were then and where you are now. Yeah, that was a. So I mean, that was it.
Yeah,
that was a big help.
He gave me the building blocks, the foundation of everything that I know now. And of course, yeah, you learn other things along the way. The more that you do this, it's different than sitting in a room learning it. When you're on the fly, it's different whenever you're in the room setting up 3-point lighting and you're in a control room that you can put the lighting wherever than whenever you're like out somewhere, you're kind of limited on where can we hide the lighting around us. You've been there, you've seen it.
Yeah. And you guys, like I said, this is his first movie, and I mean, what was it, your third movie before you actually got a distribution deal?
Yeah. Well, technically it was the fourth because there was another movie we did after Ne'er to Wells called Boo that we'll talk about in a different thing.
Right.
The movie that never got finished.
Okay.
But we started pre-production and we started casting for Ne'er to Wells, and Brian was a big fan of doing open casting calls. Like he wanted to promote it and have people show up and do auditions. And I remember you showed up for.
I actually auditioned for Ne'er Wells.
And he was like, even the people, Mitch, that you think would play the part well, they still need to show up and audition. And so we did, and we cast the role. We did rehearsals, and then we started filming October of 2008. Now, whenever we started filming, Hunter Begley was cast. Hunter came in during auditions and he killed the part.
Hunter in 3D glasses, if y'all remember him, that's who it is.
And his cousin Chad Jackson was cast as Eric, the other lead role. Chris Presnell's sister, Lori, was cast as Alyssa, and everything else was pretty much the same.
Okay.
And we filmed that first weekend and got everything done, and we came back and got into the editing room and started working on it and planning the next shoot. And then all of a sudden we found out from Chad that he was quitting the project. He got a part on a pilot for the Ren 1010 reboot as a dog catcher.
Okay.
So he was going to go do that and focus on
Ren 1010.
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
He wanted to focus on paying acting accredited gigs.
Right.
And so he left. And whenever he left, Lori found out that he left and was like, well, then she quit too. And so we had to recast the main character, Eric, with Parker Dash. And then when it came to Alyssa, even whenever Lori quit, originally this girl, Caitlin Medley, was cast as Alyssa. And she didn't make it out of the rehearsal period before she quit because it was a lot of dialogue and it was a lot of rehearsal, and it took people showing up 2 or 3 times a week and going over the dialogue because I wasn't as allowing of ad libs as I am now.
Right.
My first time directing, so I felt like everything had to be said exactly the way that I envisioned it, and it all has to be exactly the way that I envisioned it. And you grow out of that. You grow out of that, or hopefully you grow out of that. And so she didn't make it past the rehearsal phase, and Lori was cast second. And then after Lori quit, my sister Courtney was cast to be the head ninja bitch from the
Okay.
beginning.
Okay.
And whenever Lori quit, we lost Alyssa.
Shout out Courtney
Courtney
Lane.
Lane, fantastic actress. I hope to get her in more stuff one day. Not in the same type of scenes, but in something. Um, but went to Courtney's like, Courtney, we've had 2 girls already quit on this. We got to start filming soon. Will you please play this part? Yes, I know there's this scene where you have to make out with the guy and simulate like y'all are about to have sex, but I, I'm sorry. We got to get this fucking movie made. And she agreed to it. And when people ask me what was the hardest scene I've ever directed in my career or what was the most awkward scene, it was the semi-love making scene with my sister and Parker Day.
Yeah, I'd see that.
You saw that scene.
Yeah, I seen it. And it would be kind of hard if it was my sister. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But so we recast Parker and we had to go back and reshoot everything, which was part of the reason why the movie took almost 2 years to shoot. We shot so much and I had to go back and reshoot it and then shoot the rest of the stuff. And it just and then halfway through that, Parker got an acting gig in Austin, Texas for this movie called John
Okay.
that we now know was written and directed by William Enstone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Parker was doing William Enstone's movie.
And by the way, we're gonna do a commentary on that movie as
we are. William begrudgingly said we could. I need to go ahead and say he is embarrassed of that movie. He is not proud of it. But I told him that this whole podcast is about a filmmaker's journey.
Exactly, just like Ne'er-do-Wells.
And
I mean, that was his first movie. We're gonna do William's first movie.
one of the most important parts about any journey is the beginning and where you're at now. And I am not as proud of Ne'er-do-Wells as I am other things in my career, but it's still where I started. It's still the beginning.
It's just like writing songs. The majority of us in this movie stuff are all musicians first.
Yep.
So it all goes together. Artist is an artist, if you ask me.
And your first songs are never as good as your most recent.
No, because it's a learning process with anything. So,
you get better over time.
Exactly.
And so I didn't want to have another Chad situation where somebody else went to go do something else and then end up having to quit and we'd have to refilm everything again. So anytime Parker was like, hey, I got to go film this weekend over here with William, I just let him go do it. I didn't try to get in between that shooting schedule. I just kept telling him, what weekends are you free? What weekends do you not have scheduled with William so that we can get this movie fucking finished? Because it's been over a year and I want to get it finished, but I also am not so ambitious that I want to piss off people and then not be able to finish it or have to start over again.
Right.
So that is part of the reason why it took Ne'er-do-Wells so long, was because I was working with Parker and Williams scheduling for John. And but by the grace of God or the universe, whatever she's called, we managed to get it done. And originally, I don't know if you know this, originally it was a web series. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. Whenever I pitched the script to Brian and Greg, YouTube was like in its infant stages at that point. And web series was kind of like the big thing around the 2008 to 2011-12 period. And this was like right up in the middle of that. So Brian and Greg wanted to do a web series where we do the whole movie, but we just release it in like 5 to 10 minute segments and call those episodes. So like when we were filming it, we had a different editor, Ryan Woolley, who was editing the webisodes together. And you still can find those webisodes on YouTube. We're going to link the link to the full movie of Ne'er Do Wells on YouTube, but I'm gonna try to
Yeah, just
see.
look down below in the description. We'll put any links, also the Honey Hole
That's
crowdfunding
right.
and our Spotify.
But I'll also try to see if we can link some of the webisodes
Yeah.
whenever it was released in like segments because it was a different editor, it was colored differently, it was different mixing.
Okay.
Um, because whenever I sat down to edit Near to Wells for the first time, Ryan had already done the webisodes and already moved on to New Orleans, and I just had all the footage. So I would defer to his edits for the first like we did 7 or 8 webisodes, which was just the first half of the movie, and we never released the other half on webisodes. So I was going to do the whole movie and release all that so that you could see the full story. So I was deferring to him and his edits on the first half of it, and then once I got to the last half, I started doing my own
Right.
thing and cuts and edits.
Okay.
But it was my first time to ever edit a movie, and like I told you when we were watching it, I didn't know that you needed a team of people to help you in post production for editing because you have to have somebody to edit sound, mix the sound, do color, do special effects, graphics. I didn't know.
And believe me, we all do a lot. We all do all sorts of things.
But I didn't know you had to separate it like that.
Right, right.
So I was just doing everything and then showing it to Brian, like, is this good? And he would give me notes and I'd go back and try to fix it as best as I could based off of the limited knowledge of this is the first thing I've ever done.
So where did you come across the actors for your first movie? You just come to people and said, like, hey, I'm filming a movie. You want to be in it?
Well, a lot of it was like that, but because Brian wanted it in an open audition kind of a way, it was always if I came to somebody and said, I want you to be in the movie, I still had to let them know we're doing auditions on this day. So come and audition. And then Brian and them also sent out invitations. That's where we met Chad, was
Right.
through them. And because of Chad, we got Hunter because Chad brought Hunter. So it was a lot more open casting call and audition based than
So
it
yeah,
was.
this was supposed to be my first acting gig,
That's
and
right.
I actually went and auditioned in front of Brian and Chris and Mitch and them, and I had a part. Don't remember exactly which part it was. I think it was Crackhead Jimmy,
Give me the
but
crackhead.
I'm not sure. But something happened. I didn't get to be in it, but it still got filmed at my house.
Yeah.
So,
Many, many days.
so
Never,
if you watch the movie, you'll see a lot of different landmarks in West Monroe, and
every single time
you'll
you're
see
in Eric's trailer. Eric's trailer is his
yeah,
old trailer.
Eric's trailer. That's the house I was staying at the time.
But yeah, and I edited a full cut of the movie together. I want to say like we finished filming in August of 2010, and I had a full cut put together by October of 2010,
Right.
and we were going to show it at Tsunami.
Okay.
I had a date booked with Tsunami, but what ended up happening was that date that I had booked, the Tsunami was going to go out of business and they needed a fundraising show.
Hmm.
And that was the last possible date before they were going to be able to close the
And
doors.
another thing, if no one knows, Tsunami used to be Olive Street Dance Hall. Uh, when Tsunami was first opened up, me and my second wife Bobby actually opened that bar with Ben and Jennifer Farrer. And that lasted a couple months. My wife got into it with his sister, and we went to Dustin and said, "Hey, man, you might need to holler at them. They need
Cash us
somebody."
out. Cash us out.
And we got out of it. But it's a small world, man.
Small world,
It's a
yeah.
very small
It's
world.
always 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon in Monroe.
For real, like everybody's intertwined some way or somehow.
So the premiere that was supposed to happen in October of 2010 never happened. So no one ever saw the movie outside of the webisodes at that point. And my original cut of the movie was like an hour and 56 minutes. It was almost 2 hours long. And after the premiere didn't happen, we moved on to working on Boo, and Ne'er Do Wells kind of just fell by the wayside. And it wasn't until 2015 that I found all that footage again and the original cut and all that stuff and recut it together. And I realized that there's so much of this that I could cut out. It doesn't make it like there's no reason for it to be this long. All these conversations, I was so like yeah. I think by the time 2015, it was like 6 years since I started making content and films and shorts and music videos. So like you learn a lot in that amount of
Oh
time.
yeah,
It's like
for
I
sure.
don't need this. This is why did I want this? This is gone. And that's where I cut it down to the hour and 24 minute
Okay.
cut that it is now. And it's been real. I've put it out on YouTube since then, and it's also on a Cube streaming. The
Okay.
that streaming service. If you go to that, you can watch it on there.
What is it again?
Cube Stream.
Cube string. Okay.
But besides from that, YouTube, and I don't think that it'll ever get released on anything else other than that, and any other DVDs that people might want to buy from us in the future. But it is a moment in time. It was the beginning of my journey, and I am as proud of it as one can be for
Right.
like the first time you ever tried something. I was 21. We were talking about that. I was 21 years old when we were shooting that film. So I was definitely a baby. And even though I was just,
So, did you expect things to get where they are now from that?
I don't know. I
It
don't,
just kind of happened,
I
or
don't know. Like I thought that maybe, I thought maybe the web series might catch.
right.
It didn't. But I also knew the internet well enough to know that if it doesn't catch within the first 6 weeks of it being released, it's just not gonna catch. And so, like, after that period of time landed between each episode and nothing caught, I didn't think it was ever really going to. But I mean, you know me, I still didn't mean I wasn't going to finish the project. I didn't care at that point. I'd already started. I was going to finish it because I needed that to at least exist.
Right.
So I think that was kind of my attitude by the end of it. It's just that I just wanted to finish it because it needed to exist for
Hmm.
my own personal sanity, I guess.
So, how was it an experience that taught you more
Oh yeah,
and helps you in your journey?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I learned that I need to be more aware of lighting, 100% back
I'm
then.
just now learning lighting, but I've
Yeah,
been doing okay.
but yeah, this is just this has been episode 2, and it's the one of 3 episodes that we're gonna do on Near to
Right.
Wells. The next one that we do, we're going to try to see if we can reach out to Brian and maybe Parker
Okay. Yeah.
or Hunter or Jeff
Yeah,
or
because like I said, we're
Casey.
gonna have guests on here, and at some point we're gonna start going streaming live, and you guys can get in on a live chat and talk with us and ask questions, and we'll answer them the best we can.
Yep.
Um,
Big shout out to Brian Dunn. Thank you once again for the education and for the guidance. As always, we're still getting ready to shoot the Honey Hole film, and we are still in desperate need for help. So go and donate to the Honey Hole crowdfunding link that's at the
yeah,
bottom down there.
we have everything linked below. Our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's Open Heart Productions. Easy to find. Even if you go search us on Google, it will show up.
Yep.
Um, hey, this is our second episode, and we'll see you on the next one.